Very good afternoon, students. Today we are going to start up with chapter number 6, that is tissues, in class 9. And talking about tissues, already we have discussed what are cells in our previous chapter, that is chapter number 5. Now today we are going to talk about what are tissues. So when we are talking about tissues, what is the definition of a tissue? How will you define a tissue? Tissues are whenever we are going to talk about the tissues or definition of the tissues are the group of cells which are similar in structure and function. These are those group of cells which are similar in structure and function. These kind of structures, they are said to be the tissues, or these kind of the aggregation of cells, these are said to be the tissues. So now talking about tissues, why is there any necessity of having a tissue, or why are the tissues required? So again coming back to chapter number 5, as we have already studied about the cells over there, and we have talked about what are the various types of the cells, and we all very well know that in our body, that is in the body of the multicellular organisms, there are a group of cells. Not only group of cells, there are various kinds of cells which are performing varied functions. Now when we are going to talk about all these type of the cells, first we should talk about the unicellular organisms. As we all know, and as we have already studied, that in unicellular organisms like amoeba, each and every function, that is functions like life processes, metabolism, synthesis, everything, catabolism, anabolism, etc., etc., they were carried out by the single cell individually. But later on, in that particular cell, the division of labor arose, and what happened? Each cell organelle was given a certain specific function to be performed. Later on, as the environment was changing, so there arose a need that there should be division of labor in a higher degree, so that every function can be performed in a certain specialized manner. So in order to cope up with the external environment, unicellular organisms, they converted into multicellular organisms by the process which is known as cell division. Hence now the scenario shifted from the unicellular organisms to the multicellular structures. Now when we are talking about the multicellular organisms, again coming back, multicellular organisms, they are possessing varied type of the cells, like muscle cells, which are basically responsible for performing activities like movement, locomotion, and perching, grasping, etc., etc. That is every movement in the body. Like I am talking to you right now, so I am moving my jaws up and down. So this type of the movement, it is again regulated by the muscles. Okay, and when I am talking to you, I am again and again lifting up my hand here and there. So these are again controlled up by the muscle cells. So these are the muscular movements. Apart from these, there are varied other cells like epithelial cells, which make up the epithelial lining of the body, that is the skin of the body, as well as neurons or the nerve cells. These are basically responsible for conduction of various cell signals to the CNS, and from the CNS back to the cell. That is, they help us in coping up with the external environmental conditions. Okay, so a large number of the cells are being found in the human body, and as we all know, they are assigned various different type of the works. So these certain specific work that are assigned to the cells, they are not performed by the cells individually. Basically a group of cells, like when we are talking about the muscles, not a single muscle cell is performing the muscular movements, but a group of the cells here is engaged in in performing the muscular movements or the locomotory movements or the very type of the movements that is performed by the body. So here again there is an aggregation of muscle cells. And when we are talking about the neurons or the nerve cells, again not only a single neuron or the nerve cell is basically responsible for conduction of the nerve impulses, but here again a chain, a group of whole of the nerve cells is employed in performing that particular function. So accordingly, these tissues or these groups, they have been assigned by different names. Like the group or aggregation of the muscle cells, they are assigned by the name muscular tissue. Accordingly, the group or aggregation of the nerve cells or the neurons is assigned by the name of nerve cells or nerve tissues. And accordingly, the epithelial cells, these are assigned by the name of epithelial tissues. So I hope that you have all got it. Accordingly, in plant body also there are varied number of the tissues. Though the plant body is very much simplest in organization, it is not that complex as the animal body is. Okay, so the type of the tissues that are going to be found over there, they are going to be very simple in comparison to the animal tissues. So I hope that it is very much clear that what is the need of the tissues. And of course you must have also studied that after the tissues were formed, then accordingly there again arose a need of having organs. Then again after organs system, again there was a need for organ system level of organization. So here at different stages we were having different stages of organization. And today when we are at the higher level, human beings which are at the higher level, we do possess organ system grade of organization. But again coming back to we are now going to talk about the tissue level of organization. So I hope that it is very much clear that what is a tissue and what is the need and what is the function of tissues in our body, whether it is a plant body or whether it is an animal body. Now talking about, as I said, that tissues are found everywhere wherever there are multicellular organisms prevailing in the environment. So are the animal tissues and the plant tissues same? Let us see. So when we are talking about the animals and the plants, the very first difference, here I am differentiating because the animal tissues and the plant tissues, they are not the same. As I have already told you just now, that animal tissues are much and more complex than, in structure and function than the plant tissues. Then what are the reasons behind that? So talking about the very first reason is that animals do possess, they possess a complex body structure, structural organization. And when we are talking about the plants, they do not possess a complex body structural organization. Okay, second point, when we are talking about the second point, that animals, since they are movable in nature, they are not static and sedentary as plants are. Therefore their tissues, they are basically responsible for the movement and locomotion type of action, whereas plants, since they are sedentary, they are static at one particular position, therefore their tissues are adapted according to this type of adaptation. Animals, they move about here and there. Hence, their tissues are also complex and adapted to their functions. But when we are talking about the plants, they are not movable, they remain static at one position, and hence their plants do not move, and hence there is they are static at one position. Thus their tissues are also simple according to the function they perform. Now the third reason behind that, what is that why the difference arises between these? The third reason is, I should write the third reason over here at the top of the heading. I am rubbing up the heading and all. The third reason is that animals, their growth and developmental pattern is different from the plants in respect to that plants, they have got what to say, indefinite growth. Indefinite growth means it keeps on growing all throughout its region, but the regions of the growth or growth is localized to a certain extent. Localized to a certain extent means not whole of the body is exhibiting growth every moment, but only certain tissues, they are specialized to perform growth. Whereas in animals, growth is a definite what to say pattern, that is animals do grow, but they after a certain age or after a certain lifetime their growth stops. But this growth is very much proportionate. Proportionate in ratio means when they are growing, it is not that some of their body part is growing and some of their body part is not growing like the plants, but they exhibit a proportionate ratio of growth all over their body pattern, and hence the tissues, they are again what to say accustomed to this type of pattern. So here I am writing that animals exhibit a definite type of growth pattern, that is their growth is limited. Their growth is limited, but it is proportionate. And when we are talking about the plants exhibit indefinite type of growth pattern, and their growth is localized to certain regions, that is it is not proportionate. So these are the varied reasons due to which the animal cells and the plant cells, sorry, not the animal cells and the plant cells, that is the animal body and the plant body, they do possess various types of the tissues, and the animal tissue, it is much and more complex than the plant tissue. Getting my words? So Now we have already discussed the general parts of the tissue. Now in my next video I am going to talk about the plant tissues. We are going to first start up with the plant tissue, and as well as I hope that you might have got the copies of the deleted portion as well as the revised portion of your syllabi, and there is no portion cut down from this particular chapter. So we are going to do all the whole of the chapter in this following tenure. So till then, goodbye.